Item 10B, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with BKF Engineers for a not-to-exceed amount of $298,516 to provide engineering design services for the Glenview Neighborhood Reconstruction Project.
As a result of the last September tragedy, the Glenview neighborhood was impacted in an unimaginable way with loss and impact on life, private property, and public property. All publicly owned properties sustained different degree of damage or were destroyed. The neighborhood already started to rebuild itself, and in order to facilitate that process, it is critical to rebuild simultaneously the damaged infrastructure in the area. To make this to happen, in March, the department issued on one request for proposal to support the city and the community in the development of design alternative and development of the reconstruction. To our request for proposal was sent to 29 consultant firms. Three of the city received 3 proposals. 2 of those consultants were interviewed, and BKF was recommended as the best consultant to help us at this time for the design of this project. Very briefly, in summary, I will try to take you through what the scope of this project will be. In essence, to rebuild the Glenview neighborhood using best practices available for a long-term viable neighborhood with a strong sense of community. Will be our intent to develop, how I said, design alternatives. And as the design will be in progress, the alternatives will be developed, more information will be developed, and will be specific decision point when the city will need to make specific decision to further proceed based on chosen alternatives. The biggest alternative will be to make a policy choice and a policy decision to rebuild the infrastructure only just in the direct impact area of the neighborhood, or to rebuild the infrastructure and to update the infrastructure for the whole impacted neighborhood. I will take you through each of those infrastructure which were damaged. The streets, it is a minimum requirement before any traffic, that whole neighborhood can be open for pedestrian and vehicular traffic. The city will need to have some spot repairs on the pavement and also on the sidewalk. And before opening to the public, also the city will need to install some guardrail alongside the canyon. Also, the city will need to consider additional alternative to replace the pavement and the sidewalk throughout the direct impact area, which basically would be the prior fenced area where most of the homes were destroyed, or considering the overall impact of the construction activity and throughout the whole neighborhood, to assess and to improve the streets and the sidewalk with however will be needed based on specific condition assessment of the pavement and the sidewalk throughout that whole neighborhood. The same approach would apply for street lighting. For the lighting is not anything, is no minimum requirement that assume that the street lights are in the condition that the area can support public activity. Other alternatives will be to install energy efficient lighting wherever is possible, or one other additional alternative will be to consider to replace wherever is necessary the whole street lighting system to series circuits in the whole neighborhood. For water, it is a minimum requirement to install 1-inch service for each newly rebuilt home. Under additional design alternative will be important for us to reassess the long-term capacity need for that whole neighborhood and to rebuild the water system supporting that neighborhood. For the sewer infrastructure is one section of our sewer main need to be improved before any construction will start in that neighborhood. That section is on a easement between two properties. And also for sewer replacement, then will be two possible alternatives. One, rebuilding the sewer system only just throughout that direct impact area, or to replace the sewer system throughout that whole neighborhood. The same approach would apply for storm drain system. PG&E will need to rebuild the whole distribution system in the direct impact area. They already have pretty much the design done, and is their intent to start the construction this summer. One other long-term alternative assessment needs to happen for electrical services. The issue came up if would make sense, or the city would consider undergrounding the existing aerial electrical service lines. That would then will result in the same approach for the cable and AT&T lines. The park how the park will be rebuilt in that neighborhood will be based on additional discussion and public input with the residents in the area, and also will depend on the final available space based on the design of the infrastructures in the area. They are, beside the reconstruction of the infrastructure itself, there are many other ongoing and outstanding issues, like how and when the crater will be filled, replanting the slopes on the Crestmore Canyon, how the site management will be addressed, and also minor issues but important ones in the same time, how the mailboxes will be replaced. On the critical path, there are certain items like the reconstruction, the distribution system reconstruction for PG&E, and on short term, in order for us to open that whole neighborhood for pedestrian and vehicular traffic, it's important to make that side safe for walking and driving. Next step would be if you would support our recommendation tonight to award the contract to BKF for a contract amount of $298,516. Continue to work on policy items and issues as design develops. To include the neighborhood in our design alternative discussion, and would be our intent to go out for the first construction contract sometime in August or September. It is also our intent to come back with another recommendation in probably in next meeting or the meeting after to make a recommendation how to manage the project internally. Probably one other contract will be necessary for us to properly manage this very complex and very time-sensitive project. If you have any question.
Any questions of staff?
Through the chair, real quick. I know you mentioned energy efficient lights, and I know we're in the initial stage, but I always get a little nervous because sometimes efficiency also, to me, isn't as bright of a light that I think sometimes neighborhoods like to see. So that's just as a concern, but I know we're in the initial stage. Can you, real briefly, what other projects have BKF done in the area, or that are noted for your strong recommendation for them as for this project?
I cannot really comment on. I will follow up with additional information exactly on what project BKF worked for us. I don't have right now that information for you.
Okay, thank you.
Michael?
Through the chair, thank you. There were a number of items that we reviewed previously that you gave us a list of a lot of these alternatives, and I'm looking at the range of the proposals that were received, and I'm wondering if the fact that we have so many decision points that are yet undefined, if that's going to have an impact on the quality of a proposal. Because if we're asking somebody to bid on a job that has so many variables and so many decision points, I mean, from my standpoint, I think I would have a difficult time trying to estimate what it's going to cost when I really don't know what I'm designing. And looking at this range, I mean, I think, and I don't know if that's the reason why there's so much variability there, but I'm wondering if that uncertainty is going to play a big role in what somebody's going to bid on this.
You are absolutely right. This is a very unique project in many ways, and in the proposed cost, you see the impact of uncertainty and also the time sensitivity of this project. That has to happen in a reasonable in a very short time, the first phase, even if probably will be not just one construction phase, but many follow-up, maybe different construction phases, but still this project has to be on a very fast track and schedule, and also there are many uncertainties the decisions will need to be made based on additional available information. And that's what you see reflected in the cost proposal. That would be my assumption also.
Right. And I think I would like to see the reconstruction happen as quickly as possible. And I'm wondering if maybe making some of these decisions up front, some policy decisions up front might expedite the process rather than going down the process of designing many solutions and then trying to decide from those.
And that's why was separated the possible alternative was minimum requirement, what really is necessary to make this to happen, but also what is desirable and for the long term quality of reconstruction of that whole neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with the Vice Mayor. It seems that we're going to spend a lot of money giving us some alternatives and then have to make a decision based on that. I would sure like to see this neighborhood put back sooner than later based on, complete reconstruction, if you will. And
I received in meantime some additional help from the city manager, and I can help you with some of your question, Council Member. BKF designed domestic water project, which was, and I didn't remember, but was the most recent project for us. They designed domestic sewer and water replacement project. And also they designed a big stormwater project in San Antonio.
City Manager.
I could jump in here for a second. I think we clearly hear the City Council's concern about spending effort to actually design solutions that might not be used. And I want to assure you that while we understand this to be a very complicated and in some respects very unique project and situation that we're attempting to resolve, it is our intent to work closely both with a project manager. I think it's going to be necessary to allow us to efficiently move through the various alternative analysis and decision points as we work towards design of improvements that will ultimately be constructed. We're very mindful of the fact that the work effort really is one much more of engineering analysis and design capability to understand what might be the most efficient solution, what might be the alternatives, how should we move through at least enough technical information to understand what that means in terms of cost and logistics. It's not a project where we anticipate actual complete design of multiple different types of solutions. It's really one of identifying and embedding alternatives so that we have the opportunity to really make sure that we're doing this right and that we're doing it in the long-term best interest both of the neighborhood and the community as a whole.
Will the Infrastructure Committee be updated periodically?
Absolutely. It's our intent. We have two different committees that would, and again, the City Council as a whole may wish to participate either through study session procedures or in other venues. Which we have two standing committees of the City Council that overlap pretty nicely with four members of the Council that will allow us to address those issues in a very methodical way with the Council's input.
Through the Chair, and I appreciate the commentary of my colleagues. I know this is something that obviously we've not gone down this path. It's unique to us up here and of course what the staff is trying to deal with, so I appreciate and acknowledge that. But again, echoing a little bit of what the Vice Mayor said, whatever we can do to bring it forward, the scope of it, I think his words were made a lot of sense. And maybe the subcommittee, as you indicated, might be a good avenue so that we keep this project on track and we try to obviously do what we can to minimize costs and get the project completed so our residents can move back home.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any more discussion? Action? We need a resolution.
I'll go ahead and introduce the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with BKF Engineers.
Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar,
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.